Now it's working. Great. Welcome to the Saving Life chat. Yeah, I just hit record accidentally instead of streaming. So it's a second start for us, but the
Hi
first one
there.
for you all. Glad to see you all. Glad that we can actually keep up with this 2 week cadence. This time we have David here. For like those people who watched other stuff on our YouTube channel, they know David from all the other videos that are not live streams, but you're the
Yes.
first time on our live stream, aren't you?
Yes, I was happy to.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, for all those people who listened to the podcast way back when, that was
That's
mainly hosted by you
yeah,
and
that was
pioneered.
the OG show where we discussed a bunch of things, and then that got discontinued. But after a while, we picked up like this form of communication via the live stream again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And typically, as all of you know, we discuss stuff like regarding Portmaster and stuff like features would have been developed. But today, we'd like to take the opportunity to have like David on to talk more about the community, to talk more about communication and some of that sort of stuff. So we will not be discussing too many Portmaster things. Ophelia, I'm sorry, I already see a screenshot of some Windows thing. We will be mainly talking about like basic like community stuff and so on because we haven't had the opportunity to talk about this or we did not take the
Yeah,
time to talk about this.
yeah, exactly. And we will talk about different stuff in the beginning, and later on we might have time to then just take some questions,
Exactly.
like which are more technical, Portmaster specific.
Yeah, yeah. So I already mentioned Ophelia. This is stuff that's going on currently in the Discord. So for everybody to know, the Discord is the place where you can also, of course, like write questions as well. The YouTube live chat we do have open as well. But like last time, so many people were writing us via Discord. So this is where we primarily now look at, I
But
guess.
whatever works for you, basically.
Exactly.
We have
Just
both open, so don't matter.
exactly. Just so
Yeah.
you know, we might be also just for you to know. Like I sometimes write in chat, so this might work. So
Yeah.
I try to listen while I type, but I learned that this is also acceptable.
I'll learn how the flow, how this all rolls.
Well then, I had a couple of like interesting things prepared, which I thought we might be like talking about. What do you want to pick up first? Like, what do you want to share with?
Yeah, I think we recently shifted some roles around, so I can just start with the community one or the communication one.
Sure, hit them.
Yeah. So, like two roles of mine are marketing and sales, and especially the marketing one is then also like kind of the question of how to like get new people to hear about Safing and all that stuff. So, um, it's a fun thing because like on the one hand you like it's about reaching out to people, but it's also
Mhm.
about like you can choose like what you want to tell and all that stuff. So one thing which was on my mind for quite a while was like our origin story, so to speak, and that's where the Snowden blog got written and then published a few weeks ago.
Mhm.
And there we just picked up on like a broad overview of the Safing story and how everything got started and how basically Snowden triggered a lot of um, yeah, he basically changed our perception and how we viewed the internet, because before that it was like this amazing place where everybody just felt like it just felt like a utopia in one way or another. But Snowden kind of shattered this reality by exposing what really is going on. And that got a lot of people discussing. And like millions of people started talking and discussing like the issues of our modern age. And alongside that, Daniel, myself, and Raphael also joined. And a bit of my background, actually, I also worked at a gaming company, like for mobile games, and that was kind of a big, or it still is a big app. And there I kind of firsthand experienced how data is collected and processed, and how easily like you get user data, but also how easily you share it with third parties and all that kind of stuff. So that was also something that got me thinking a lot. Like amazing team and all that stuff, but just yeah, for me, it was time to move on, and yeah, privacy as a human right just like started to develop, and that's kind of the just a bit more extra background from that blog post, but you can go ahead and read that. It's on the website, and it shows how it like triggered all like safing basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, has been a long time.
Yeah.
And there's a lovely photo in there as well. I think it's the three of us like in the first office,
Yes.
like when we moved out of like the kids' room and actually had our first office. And this is now the third where we're currently at. And it's sort of like an intermediary office. I think Daniel and I talked about this a couple of like episodes ago.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's a lovely photo.
good times. That was, I know, like we were in the spare room and we were kind of like everything was kind of tight, and Rafael was kind of the first one who then said, "Hey guys, we gotta move into an office and like do this properly."
Yeah.
And we were like, I don't know. But yeah, good times. How did you remember the first weeks there
I
at the
can't
new
even.
office?
I can't. Like in the new office, it was a little bit moody. It was a little bit like the windows were like I think north side, and it was very dark. Very dark.
And the
very
floor was like, how do you say that? It wasn't straight, but you could go.
crooked.
Yeah,
Yeah, very crooked and stuff like that, and your wheels got stuck. But I think it has been lovely, and it
Yeah.
had character. And sadly, it's not there anymore. They like tore everything out and got some proper flooring and like plumbing and stuff inside. So now it's not an office anymore. It's like I think a living space at this point.
The nostalgia is gone, the charm is gone. But
Exactly.
in a new office, it's
The pizza place is still good there, so we sometimes go there still, and it's fun to remember those things. So yeah, so
And
I agree. So
like, to wrap up the Snowden
Yeah,
story,
please
it's
do.
kind of like, of course, there's a lot of history and all that stuff, and a lot of phases we went through and all that stuff, and it's amazing to see to just look back. But what I also wanted to mention is like the support and growth has been amazing as well, and all of you interacting from the early days, like testing the alpha software as it was really raw, like no comparison to what Podmasters is today. It was really like raw.
Yeah, we had people who were like, I just need this. I will use the command line to interface with it. And we're like, oh, whoa, like there's such demand for this. Okay.
Yeah. And it has been an amazing journey, and like
Yeah.
even people who get to know the Podmaster now, it's super nice and so encouraging to hear all the friendly words, all the friendly messages we get, all the like, and to see how like other people get value out of it. That is just super encouraging and kind of fulfilling, actually. Yeah, it's super amazing. So just kudos to all of you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I liked how, I think it was today or maybe yesterday, somebody wrote like, oh, I had this lovely email conversation like with me, and posted this on a Discord, and I'm just like, oh, this is great. Like, I try to be nice. Sometimes in writing, it's a little bit difficult, of course, but
Yeah. Some nuances get lost, but
that's true. That's true. Also, I'm not that much of an emoji kind of guy. I mean, I give a lot of thumbs up. Yeah.
but other than that, you're not the emoji guy. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of the areas I wanted to touch upon. Another thing kind of is SPN administration, and I think that's something we can both talk about.
Yeah.
Like the whole server infrastructure and all the SPN servers and all that stuff. And like where it came from was that actually two people were responsible for that. So Daniel was responsible for the technical aspects of that. and you yourself, you can also say what you were responsible for and
Yeah, I
why
was
you.
just like evaluating all that the new services and like
Yeah,
trying to get them running. But of course, like me buying the new servers, getting all of that stuff going, and then Danielle sort of like having like handing it over then, and then Danielle doing all the rest of it meant that there was a disconnect between what does a server cost, where is it located, what options did we have as alternatives, and like how does it perform in the end, like how does it perform in day-to-day use. So
yeah.
you have now
Uh,
combined everything.
that's kind of also the idea where it's like, yeah, you had to communicate, or like everything is at one person now, which is me, and that's been cool. Been cool to like get handed over the two different hats, so to speak. So now they are all combined under my hat, and yeah, but it's also a process. Like firing up the first servers, like Monday is already scheduled, so we'll finally get new servers to the network.
Yeah,
Um,
but you have much greater like insights now.
yeah,
I think so as well because it's combined. Like we struggled for like I think for the last couple of months getting new servers up, understanding where our network is performing well, where our network can expand easier and stuff like that. Also, we had a couple of like instances where we had to take servers down again and so on. And so I think without this delay of two people having to work together and you seeing the effects and seeing the opportunities next to each other,
yeah,
like you can easily say, well, in this location we have multiple options. We can approach. I have vetted a couple of them already, like you, not me, but like you have vetted a couple of them, and it's just easier to sort of like shift and navigate and stuff like that. And also, of course, like combining with the community aspect, which you at the get-go said is part of your responsibility from a marketing perspective as well. You have now created like in Discord a subroom where you ask and engage much more, and like it's more of a community thing now as well.
yeah,
You know,
definitely.
it's less me
It's
sort of like reading the tea leaves. Where shall we get a new one? Where is their network not performing well? And then Daniel is saying, well, they have been okay, and I'm like, they cost double the amount of like other options we have there. They better be very good, you know.
yeah, it's kind of like having all of the information in one place, and like I also like took some notes. I like the main focus is to see what is going on,
Hmm.
and then I can react accordingly, and yeah, and that just makes things much easier and will make scaling a lot easier. And
Yeah.
the thing you also touched upon is like I love inputs from like you guys. I love hearing like where SPN maybe doesn't perform as well as it should, and where it performs well and all that stuff. And like then I can also compare it with my data, and then I can say, okay, yeah, that's right. We have to scale up some servers in this location, and or maybe add some servers over there, or like multiply them. And yeah, scaling will just be like the more I know, the better it will get.
Absolutely.
That's a cool thing.
Absolutely. Of course, please be patient. Like David has been bugging me for like the last weeks. How has the performance been? How is my experience? And I'm always like, it's okay-ish, you know. Like if it's broken, and I hate it. But the like, I just like if it's running, I don't like see it. So it's always, and when something goes wrong, you're like, what's wrong? Why can't this be better? What's
Yeah,
happening? And then 5 minutes later, everything runs again, and you forget about it, and you forget that like in an 8-hour workday, it's like 5 to 10 minutes. Like at least for me, it has been. I know that there are some people, like our survey showed that there are maybe a little bit more people than that have.
experience difficulties
Yeah,
in recent
exactly,
times. Yeah, but
exactly. And we're addressing that. We are like
yeah,
working on that, and I think I hope it's getting better. We pushed the beta stuff today, where like we sort of made a little trade-off. It's stability for maybe some additional latency, but we're on top of it, and we're trying to fix it. So
yeah, definitely. It's always also a thing about balancing things out. But as you said, it's kind of I compare this to you who watch sports. Like the referees, they are doing a great job when you don't notice them.
yeah,
And when you do notice them, like you get emotional really quick, and you say, "Hey, what a stupid decision," or like that was unfair, and all that stuff. And we're kind of in a similar boat because we're just an install and forget solution. And
Yeah.
when you forget about SPN, it's working well. And of course, there's a bit of a bias when it doesn't work. But we want to like have everything smooth and just have the peace of mind, rest in peace. And
Exactly.
yeah, so
Exactly.
all the
Absolutely.
feedback helps. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Also, in regards to sort of like locations as well, I think we touch upon this, but every time, but I think we cannot say this enough. The SPN, of course, works differently depending on the routes you're taking, and the routes you're taking depend on where you are and where the websites are you visit.
Yeah.
Because the SPN takes into account your location, the exit location where you actually end up, and like for me, accessing the same website from Austria is probably very different from a person in the US visiting the same website. Maybe it's hosted somewhere else, like through Cloudflare, and 2 locations anyway. But stuff like that, it's always funny. And like I had a couple of conversations with someone who had done different speed tests, and then at one point I just asked, "What speed tests are you running?" You know, and then I figured out how they actually work. Like there are different types of speed tests. Did not know that. I thought like every speed test is just like downloading a file, you know. But some speed tests try to do this smart, which of course means interesting and difficult. And yeah, and no, it's not bad. It's just different,
Yeah.
and it has been interesting, you know. I think in some use cases, this method would give higher results, but in the SPN case, it was way worse because it took multiple routes throughout the speed tests. And so the latency, because like it's like calculating all those routes differently, was way up, like
Yeah.
way
Of
up.
course.
But it was
Yeah.
doing like 100 connections within a minute or something different, like spread out. Very weird. Very weird.
Yeah. So that's basically the like a little shift in SPN network responsibility and my role there.
Yeah, but maybe then, like, if we're talking to community, what do you like? You already said like feedback. What are you looking for? Like, how often? What should people like tell and where? Maybe tell people where they should like. Shall they write an email?
Yeah, I mean, the best places for this is probably Discord.
Okay.
Like we have our own channels now talking about SPN performance and all that stuff. So there's the channel SPN performance. You don't have to link your Safing account to that. It's free for all.
It is.
Yeah, because there are people who don't want to connect that, and that's fine.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and
Okay.
then there are like a few polls. I want to do this like semi-regularly, just poll the community like on different things. Maybe it's going to be about speeds. We just had one on stability, like how stable is SPN when establishing connections and keeping them. But I also want to do things about speed or maybe locations in the future. We'll figure it out. And that is only for people who connected their Safing accounts with the Discord account.
Okay.
Because there I ping like the whole room, and I only want to ping people who it refers to. Because in the other room it would be, yeah, I don't want to ping all of our Safing community where people will maybe just only use Portmaster free and not Portmaster unlimited.
Yeah. 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 And then it's only unlimited, but without the supporter. So you're having like a different tier there as well.
I think the supporters are in there as well.
Okay.
But that's just, maybe I'll change that. It's
Okay.
maybe,
You love them in. You're already a step there. Probably it's
no, it's if it's annoying, I'll definitely change it. So just let me know. But in terms of where to post that, like that's a great channel. We have a dedicated room for talking about SPN performance. But of course, whatever works for you, we don't want to like single people out. You can just write us emails. You can write us on Reddit, like Twitter even. Maybe we'll just redirect you to email then. But we are kind of, the channels which we have, we follow. So the feedback will come to us.
But from a speed perspective, I think Discord is the fastest.
Yes.
There are the most eyes on everything in there. Like I think it's me, David, and Vladimir on there every day-ish. Like not weekends, but like regular work days. Me sometimes weekends as well. Some of you have experienced long conversations on a Saturday morning for me. But I guess email is the second fastest
Yeah.
because I typically go through them, and I think my response time is about an hour, maybe two-ish. Of course, like during regular work days and stuff like that. And if not email, I don't know how often Twitter gets checked. This
I
is
check Twitter every day.
every day,
Yeah.
so daily.
Yeah.
And Reddit probably same-ish.
Yeah, Reddit is probably the slowest.
You know, they're like, I looked at YouTube Analytics, you know, YouTube Analytics. But apparently Reddit is one of the biggest drivers of people watching our live stream.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was confused as well. But of course, the thumbnail is big on Reddit, and so who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for us, Reddit, it's not that we don't like it. It's just like that the conversation has been much better on Discord. Like we have been very sort of like slow to want to move to a community platform like Discord. Also, I feel like, and we're going into a different topic here, but I feel like
Yeah,
we
that's
did
fine.
not want to have a matrix. Like we wanted to. We were torn a bit, I think.
It was really, yeah, we were torn and still are. We still get requests, hey guys, why don't you have a matrix? We understand the concerns. We understand
Yeah.
Discord isn't privacy friendly at all. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's where people are. So there's always this duality, I feel, where, yeah.
We wanted to sort of like meet people where they are to get them going into privacy. And I feel like there are already people in the Discord who are like telling others who are asking this question for us. And I'm just thumbs up. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And the other thing is we actually have a matrix, you know, it's not public, but we use matrix. So we're not against matrix. It's just like trying to meet people where they are, making it easy for them to interact with us and to interact with other people in the community without getting like creating an additional account, understanding matrix. I think it's a similar thing with Mastodon. We also got a lot of questions about Mastodon. You know, like you aren't on Mastodon yet, are you? Oh yeah, you
I did set up
are.
Mastodon recently.
Oh, I should remind me later. I put your handle in the description, but my Mastodon handle is in the description. This, of course, is Twitter, because the Mastodon handle is, of course, is double the length. But all of us are apparently on Mastodon already. But of course, Safing is not.
Yeah, but it's yeah, like generally speaking, it's also a question of resources.
Yeah.
Where like every extra channel which we have, we want to maintain, we want to like respond, we want to keep an eye on that, and
absolutely
finding the balance there is always a challenge.
Yeah.
And we're not like attached or married to any one of these options. We will switch, and kind of that's something where you also wanted to talk about was Twitter.
Yeah.
And Twitter has been, if you haven't noticed, involved in an ownership change, and with it, a lot of, let's just say, drama.
Internet drama.
Internet drama.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just like wildfires, and everybody gazes at the fire and cannot look away, or some just say, yeah, whatever, leave that. So we have built a following over the years on Twitter, and just dropping that seems a bit, yeah, we still have interaction there. And I'm like I said, I'm not against other options, like Mastodon is a Twitter alternative. But then again, it's like managing resources, because we have like a Twitter manager where we can just schedule things beforehand. And for Mastodon, we would need to find other solutions for that. And maybe post on both places, I don't know, but it's again, it's like there are switching costs, there are just efforts which we need to invest, and like in my current roles, I say one of the big priorities is definitely the SPN network. So like these I don't see them as lower hanging fruit to switch a community, because Twitter works as well, and we have different places where people can interact with us. So think that is something urgent. It is something cool, but yeah.
How has your experience on Mastodon been like so far? I think you're on the .social, Mastodon.social.
I'm at the InfoSec.
Infosec.exchange.
Yeah.
With where Daniel is as
Yeah,
well.
where Daniel is. Yeah.
Ah.
It's cool. I mean, I like that. It's like that you have different instances and you can just follow each other, and you have different moderators for the different instances and all that stuff. So I really love the federated concept behind it. The first impressions from a user experience is like,
I absolutely understand. No. I just like now that Twitter has killed my application, which I used, it was Tweetbot. I'm gone. Like I open Twitter once a week, a month, I don't know, just because I have to use the browser for it.
yeah.
I'm not gonna install the Twitter app like the official one. Like, what are they thinking?
Yeah. I mean, it's all it's yeah. I know there are a lot like a lot of. It's also kind of work. Maybe how do you say that? Like, I'm a bit picky when in regards to user experience and user interfaces.
Oh, well then, maybe a tip for everybody who's on iOS. Love the IceCube app. I tried it like a couple weeks back when it was like first announced. Was horrible. I hated it. But the guy improved a lot. I already like gave him a tip inside the app. He made it fairly easy, but it's open source and I can actually recommend it now.
That's a Mastodon client, or
It's a Mastodon client, IceCube.
Okay.
Hate the icons, but the app is good. I'd like to have a nice, simple, black and white app icon. That's what I like. That's basically my home screen at that point. Black and white icons. Yeah, that's how I like it. No, it's very colorful, and this I don't like. Well, but yeah, I understand completely. Like loving a good UI and sort of like stuff, and yeah, no. Glad to see you joining the Fediverse.
Yeah,
I have to say,
things also with saving things will evolve. Like it's not off the charts to maybe will move or migrate or cut off Twitter. We don't know.
cut off. No, if you're following us on
not.
Twitter at the moment, don't be scared. We will transition.
We would, of course, transition.
But it won't be a hard cutoff and like
That was
no funny Fridays anymore. You know,
harsher expression than I meant.
No, but I think Tabitha is doing a great job with the Friday memes. I love them.
Yeah, they are really cool.
Yeah. For everybody who has not seen them, of course, they're all to be found on Twitter.
Privacy memes.
Yeah, privacy memes.
They are pretty cool, and they are the ones who get shared most overall.
Overall, yeah, of course, because it's not just safing; it's privacy in general and stuff like that. And I think this is in general what you can expect, like from our like Twitter, like.
Yeah, it's important for us also to like not just use Twitter as like a classical marketing tool where we try to push products onto you, but just like have fun with it and have like some privacy memes where we like. Also recently, I just made a quick one where I commented on a Microsoft response with a meme, like the dog in the house with all the fire.
Okay.
And then drinking coffee, and then the dog says, "Yeah, this is fine." And Microsoft had like kind of a response where I just thought about that meme and posted that meme, and that was fun. So,
well,
just fun content. It's what I believe is valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Like people might find like see the content, might find out about us, and then they get interested, get intrigued, and like.
Into privacy in general, of course, as well. Yeah,
that as well.
Absolutely.
And we had like a short period with the Valentine's Day sale where we just switched and made like promoted that a bit more, but that was like a few days and then that was over again. So it's like
I have not seen all the tweets, of course. I saw some of the draft pictures and I'm like, oh gosh.
I hope that was acceptable use, but I feel it was. Yeah.
This I don't know of. This I haven't seen. But like in regards to
that
some
was just
of
a bit pushy a few days. Like where we had a few like promotional tweets and then a few unfold, and that's fine. But now we're back to the privacy memes and privacy content, so to speak.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not like those like what was whatever like crypto scammy accounts where they tried to tweet for a couple of days about like a hot topic and then they switch back to push crypto on everybody. Not to say that crypto is bad, of course not. We accept Bitcoin and Monero. Have stopped accepting Ethereum. I think we can officially sort of like call Ethereum dead.
We should probably ditch that from the
That's true.
server.
That's true. That's true. Not that we don't like Ethereum. I've been using Ethereum myself, but it's just like, the like amount
Return
of people.
of investment.
Exactly. The amount of people who have been like using Ethereum was not high in the first place. Wallets are sort of more difficult with Ethereum for us as a business, and so on. So I think like my recommendation would be please use Monero. Like Monero has great mobile apps where you can have sort of like a hot wallet, and also like a seed wallet is fairly easy to create. And if you take good care to not sort of like spread your seed around, I think Monero is a good option to go with. Yeah, also from a privacy perspective, of course.
That's true. Yeah. Monero is a great cryptocurrency where money flows.
And it actually does. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. It's an actual like.
It's a currency.
Yeah.
And not but that's
not an investment. Yeah. Exactly. But hashtag no financial advice. You know?
That's true. Disclaimer: no financial advice. Just purely opinions and nothing factual behind it.
No, there are some facts. We don't accept Ethereum anymore. This is a fact, you know. It's
I know, but there was just like this legal joke where we also on the website we have to legally like disclaim its opinion only and not based on facts, and you obviously have like certain logos which but we can just skip that topic. I feel that's fine.
Ooh, Ophelia is typing something new.
Yeah, so. I mean, we covered like my topics.
Okay.
So I'm happy to dive into unless you feel there's open questions with the community. But like final notes on that, it's an evolving thing. We'll adapt. We'll see. Open to recommendations and everywhere.
Absolutely.
Like our official channels, we hear and see all the input we get, and that's always amazing.
I recently got an sort of like request to accept Chia coin. Exactly. No, this was sort of my reaction as well. Like it is not like we can like our account page is built like by us, like mainly by you and by Alexander, and sort of like we can add additional payment options. We can add an alternative cryptocurrency in there, but it's work. It's not easily done. And so there are switching costs, and if like we already see, like as I already said, like the reason why we stopped accepting Ethereum was because it was rarely used, and having everything up and maintained costs money, you know. And if not even like if the money that we make with this currency is not like the same amount like it's cost us to operate it, then it sort of like does not make sense to offer it. And with Chia, I know a couple of people who wanted to get big into Chia, but you know, I think it was the storage.
I have never heard of
Chia. Okay,
is it Cia or Chia?
I think within C, like Caesar.
Okay.
CH, whatever.
But I haven't followed that for a long time.
I think Naomi is into Ccoin. I haven't looked at Ccash. I haven't been looking into Ccash to.
Yeah, that's kind of a big one as well. Where I think Snowden was one of the people who also like there was this whole seeding event or seeding mechanism where they generated the master keys or whatever. Okay. So it was like 6 different people spread throughout the world where everybody got one part of the key and only one of them had to successfully destroy it. And I think Snowden was one of them, but I haven't investigated too much into the crypto scene in recent times. I have like I know Monero is cool. Bitcoin is just the biggest one, the big one. So yeah, made sense to support that as well. But from a privacy perspective, Monero is a very good bet.
Yeah. Maybe we will look into Zcash, but no Chia. If
Yeah.
all of you are like, well, Chia, well, maybe we will. But
It's always associated with work, and yeah, we have to manage our time as well and prioritize and like, yeah.
okay, Ophelia, cool question, like the last one. I will go up the questions afterwards. I think I read through some of them already.
Yeah.
Like the last question was donations.
Maybe you read it out loud for people who watch it on YouTube in retrospect.
Sure. Yeah. So Ophelia asks if I want to make donations to Saving, not
Per month.
per month, but one-time donations. For instance, once this month, then again in 2 months, etc. Is it possible? Most of our payment options, like we looked into this. It's hard for us to accept proper donations. We are and like limited from a like legal perspective.
Similar to a limited.
Similar to a limited. It's in German. It's called an entity with limited legal stuff thingamajig. The reason is to sort of like protect and to sort of like limit the bad impact lawsuits could have and stuff like that. So we have been thinking in the past of maybe switching to an sort of like a non-profit situation. Then I think it would be easier to give donations. But to get to the answer of this, so for now, what we opted is like the supporter tier is exactly for this reason. Like the supporter tier is not necessarily like to get you support. Of course, it will give that to you as well. But it's to support our work. And it's you can do it on a like time sort of situation as well. So you would get for €3 a month of support. But if you don't pick a subscription, it's not gonna auto renew. So if you only want to gift us like €9, you pick 3 months, you pay them, and the €9 will make their way to us.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to give like again, it does not auto renew. Take a look. Like there's a subscription on top. I think it supports PayPal at the moment. That's the only one that auto renews, but everything below does not auto renew.
Yeah, it's like visually indicated if it's like a recurring payment or if it's a one-time thing.
Yeah.
And like you can't choose the amount yourself. Like we kind of had to tie it to like this time, but basically it doesn't mean too much. Like it's if you want, you could just like donate €30 with a monthly with a year package.
Yeah.
And then do the same in 2 months if you want to do that again. And then you like kind of purchase 2 years the supporter tier where you get the Reddit and Discord flares. But other than that, for now, it's really just a donation. You get some goodies, but yeah, and you can do that on a regular basis. You can do it recurring. You can do it whenever you feel like it, and you can just select the amount yourself, basically, just by increasing the months or years. Yeah,
and of course, like up to like just so you know, there's an upper limit. Like above €400, we would have to know who the person is who sent us the money. This is the reason why there's a hard cap for 4, because like our biggest tier is like the €99 yearly tier, and so I think there's hard coded a 4-month tier. But
there's a cap at 4.
Yeah, exactly. And yes, Ophelia, you're right. It's a GmbH. Like this is like in the DACH area, Germany, Austria, Switzerland. I think all 3 of us have it. It's just like how we call this sort of stuff, and it has some legal reasoning behind it and so on. But thank you. Yeah, we have been thinking about different models as well. I think I have been teasing this on a live stream also, but of course, like working on it would make it hard. But hear us out. Maybe if the excitement gets big enough, David will implement it. Who knows? I have been toying with the idea of allowing sort of like to donate to a specific feature, or like it would probably be called purchasing a ticket for this feature, or sort of like so that you can affect and vote with your money what we're working on. We do have a roadmap, so of course all the stuff we offer is part of the roadmap. And we will, of course, all the Portmaster and the supporter money will go into everything, so everything will be done eventually. But if you want to see something faster, maybe to donate to a specific thing. Of course, stuff we're not 100% sure there as well, because like developing is like expensive.
Yeah.
I'm quickly disclosing, I think, how much the crypto payment system roughly cost.
You mean the whole automatic system and all that stuff? Or
No, not the automatic, like just accepting Monero and Bitcoin.
yeah, it's expensive. I mean,
Yeah,
if you want to disclose,
I
that's
think it
different.
was around like 40,000 euros or something like
Yeah.
that, just to accept Monero and Bitcoin. Just to give you a rough estimation into like if you want, oh, just I want to see and filter what like profiles have been edited. Well, my guesstimation 10K, something like that, just to get this feature out there. We're working, but stuff is expensive,
Yeah.
and all of us have to eat and pay for electricity. Oh, it's gotten way more
No, of
expensive.
course, yeah, and it's like we live in Austria where salaries or the cost of living is expensive,
Yeah, yeah,
so like accordingly,
yeah.
development time costs money. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, that's cool. Should we read different questions? Should we go back?
Yeah. I wanted to. I quickly read that one. So I feel like also a good thing why I love the Discord more than the YouTube chat is you can post screenshots in Discord. So I guess I should put the link to the thread into the description as well, so that people can easily find the conversation there, like and find the screenshots. But Ophelia was also like posting a screenshot right at the beginning, like when we started.
So now we're basically going back a bit to Portmaster questions.
It was a
But
Portmaster
yeah,
question.
and just over generally speaking, we like to talk about everything and anything.
Yeah.
But now I think it's a good time to talk about Portmaster stuff.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we might move.
We
again
might circle back. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. So this was about the Windows Defender and with an allow button and stuff like that. And the question I think was, so the pop-up that all of you I guess know, where if you have a new application it wants to connect, and then you have to decide is it like public or private stuff, and then you click allow and so on.
The
So
Windows pop-up.
the
From
Windows
Windows.
pop-up from
Yeah.
Windows, exactly. And so the question B, I think, was why did the pop-up still come despite having Portmaster involved? Is Windows Firewall not working, or is Portmaster not working, or am I doing something wrong? No, it's just that how Portmaster is integrating is sort of like we tried to do it as much behind the scenes as possible. So actually, most of your applications don't even see that there's something in between. Like they communicate to Windows itself and tell Windows, well, I'd like to get like this IP address, like this domain resolved, and Windows is like, oh well, I'm doing an IP like an domain lookup, and Portmaster sees this lookup going out, intercepts it, cuts it off, and does it itself, like through the configured. This is also like through its DNS, configured DNS. This is also the reason why you can leave everything in Windows as it is. But also partly the reason why we tell people to not disable like Windows Defender. Like it does other things as well. It's good for what it does. It does not interfere. Just let it be.
Yeah, and it's also important, like we always differentiate and say Portmaster is a privacy software, while Windows Defender is a security software. Of course, there is always overlap and all that stuff, but it is important to also have a security setup and not like fully depend on Portmaster for security issues. Like we do not scan local folders for viruses, as an example. That's something Portmaster does not do. So you might want to have another option which does that and then just checks different areas where Portmaster doesn't, interfere. Which is,
Absolutely. So a second question was, and I'm sorry, like I skipped the A one. I'm just not sure, Ophelia, what you were talking about there. Maybe I answer it later in the chat. But the second one was in regards to, is it possible for certain applications, let's say Firefox in this instance, to block all traffic passing through the Netherlands Other applications can go through Netherlands, but if I want Firefox to not go through Netherlands, is it possible?
That's a great question.
It is
Yeah.
a good question. There are a couple of caveats there as well. Which is great that we're like talking about it on the live show, I think, because like we can get into the nuances a bit. We're talking also, just for everybody, Portmaster straight without like SPN,
But
which is
maybe this is an SPN question.
no, it's not. There's as like in the screenshot, SPN tunnel is disabled.
Okay.
So it's just like the domain resolves to an IP address which is located in the Netherlands in that case, like from the screenshot perspective.
Just, I know like this question isn't an SPN question in this case, but it would be a great question for SPN as well. And the answer for
Sure.
SPN is yes, you can exclude certain countries from specific apps.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
To sort of like not exit there, I'm not on the home node. So for the in-between nodes, I think we don't offer yet a
that's
setting
true.
for that. Yeah. But you could, technically you could. And I had this conversation via mail today with somebody who's like, about the custom. I know we're a little bit on a tangent here, but like that guy asked about the custom application profiles you can create, and explained to me very nice, very cool. Like the feedback was super valuable. Thank you for such valuable feedback. But it's like this is not intuitive, and it's complicated for this and that reason. I'm like, well, we know, this is also why we don't push just feature after feature at this point anymore, because we see that we're getting too complicated and we need to sort of like fix a couple of things before we can continue on. Like the app, like custom domain is one of them. Like custom like application profile is one of them. But all those SPN features, which you're absolutely right, technically possible, but we're like, how to display this, how to make this like understandable and intuitive to go through it. So for now,
that's true.
It's only like, or the easiest thing, and I think in simple, it's the only thing it shows you, blocking exit countries. Like you can block exit nodes based on countries, exit nodes based on like different other parameters. But like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And I didn't want to like make too much of a tangent, so back to the Portmaster question.
Okay. So can you block an exit country? I think I have not done it, but I think yes.
Block countries,
yeah, you can.
You can block.
Which of course, like to make this clear, some websites then just resolve into a different IP address, which would then be in a different country. So this is a possible outcome.
Yeah.
And also important is because the question is, it doesn't go through the Netherlands. This, of course, is difficult to say. Like this is the reason why we built the SPN, because you don't know where your traffic passes through when it leaves your device. But with the SPN, the goal is to exit in the same country and, if possible, as close to the destination as possible, to allow exactly what you were saying. We saw this issue, I think, what you're raising. Like there are countries I just don't want my traffic to go through, but as soon as it leaves your device, you know where it's gonna end up, but you don't know how it's getting there.
Yeah.
And so the SPN allows you to have this greater access and control beyond your device. And we're unique in this. Like this is one of the big USPs we have, to sort of like give you the possibility, and it does this automatically, but you can of course have control and sort of like navigate stuff like that as well.
Yeah, that's one of the unique selling points, just to explain that abbreviation. But it's kind of also how the internet works. Like if I connect to a server in France and we're in Austria now, so chances like my ISP will know that, like, and probably it will go through Germany, I'd assume, maybe through Switzerland or through Italy, but somehow it has to get to France. So yeah, it's just how, like, we cannot guarantee that it doesn't move through a country, but you can like block the country totally. So you can say, okay, whenever a server is located in
without SPN now.
Without SPN, it's just Portmaster free. Yeah. Without SPN. Good clarification. But with Portmaster free, you can just block countries completely and say, as an example, I never want to visit a server in the US. there is a little like asterisk there, I'd say, because you download geo IP data,
Yeah.
and that is kind of data which kind of like stores which IPs are associated in which countries and all that stuff. So there might be some misinformation in there. So it might associate one IP address with a country you wanted to block. Or no, the other way around, with a country
That would have been allowed.
that would have been allowed, but somehow
this IP address
Yeah,
got
the IP address-
transferred or stuff like that.
yeah. So there is like a small error rate.
Yeah.
But that's not really too much to be concerned about. I'd
Yeah,
say.
yeah. That IPv4 especially is like
Yeah.
very much pre-allocated and stuff. But we are updating this. Like this is part of why Portmaster like does regular updates and stuff like this to get the newest information. You have everything locally so that we don't see what stuff you're accessing or so on. So this is also why Portmaster has this like for the install process, like this huge like amount of data, like 200-300 megabytes or stuff like that. This is geo IP data, and it needs to be as new as possible. This is why we don't pre-package it. This is why it's not like included. And we hear the voices who are like, "Oh, give us an offline installer." But this is important information that needs to be in there. And if it's outdated, it can actually affect you as well. We're thinking of solutions for this, maybe with snapshots and maybe some asterisks explaining from when this data is that comes included. And it is very strongly required to immediately update it. But of course, like for setting it up and getting it. Yeah. Ryan.
Hi there, Ryan.
Yeah. Hi
good
there.
To have you.
Sad that the message I deleted again, but oh.
Okay, just fix the typo.
Greetings from Toronto. Yeah, very greetings from Austria. Back to you. Are you going down? No, I have not finished yet.
I just wanted to see what
Ophelia
was responding.
Okay, well then.
Because if
absolutely.
They have input, then
absolutely. So just so you know, going back to the question like blocking countries and so on, there have been attacks and instances where some countries, like I think it was China, and I think it was like a couple of years ago, where they actually sort of like were able to force traffic from other countries through their firewall. So they were able to sort of like see all the traffic of different countries. And this is stuff that you don't see, that you have no control over. And this is sort of like why the SPN exists. This is why we were like, oh, and in theory, like that, the grand goal would be that stuff like Squarespace has an integration with SPN as well, so that your traffic never leaves like the privacy network, and you can be sure that your connection is only seen by you, the service you're visiting, and the data center which this service is hosting, which the two of them will see your traffic anyway. And then it's only you, and nobody else has access to the traffic.
To you.
We cannot associate. No.
Also, the server cannot.
The data center. Well, it depends on what sort of information you're sending. If you log in, exactly. So,
if you logged into a bank, as an example, of course, the bank will know your ID.
Exactly.
Just by visiting.
This is the grand goal, and this is exactly why we're like what this pin was built for. And this is absolutely a great question, and part of the journey where I'm like, I hope people get to, where they're like, I don't want to connect to this country, but how can I make sure that I don't connect to it? Well, you can't except with the SPN. But because even if you're using a VPN, like you cannot like do stuff like that. A VPN, you are connected to a different country, but from there, like you have no control where the connection is going through afterwards. Like,
well, you could build a tunnel to the exit country, and then you
each time for each connection, of course,
for each country you want to visit,
and disconnect and reconnect, and if you have multiple connections open at the same time, this is not practical.
No, it's not practical,
and it's not
I'm just saying technically. I'm just for my background as well. I'm a developer as well, so I might have a few tendencies to be technical.
Well, no, but this is the reason why we built the SPN, and this is absolutely the reason why we think it's superior to other alternatives out there.
So Ophelia just followed up for Ryan. That's in Discord, just so you're not confused.
Yeah.
I still didn't get the answer to my question. Please tell me how to block a certain application from going to a certain country, and two, how to block all traffic to a country. For example, I don't want my device to connect to China.
Yeah, yeah. I think a screenshot will be easier there.
Yeah, I think we have a documentation page as well, which links to the settings,
Yeah.
to the specific setting which you need to configure.
Yeah.
So we will just drop that
As a line.
link to you after the stream.
And maybe it will be a wiki page already at that point. Not sure though. No, because I like the docs page, and I think it was last week or the week before where I told everybody on the live stream that we are sort of like moving away exactly from the docs page and onto a wiki page with proper new pictures, like with the current UI and stuff like this. I know, very wild times indeed. No, but it has been hard, and it has been hard to update. Yeah. We know.
We can move on.
Yeah, we know, and we want to do better. So, Ophelia, this will be like, expect a link in the Discord later on. 3-ish minutes until I'd like to sort of like get to an end. So I think there's one question left.
Was there one? Did we go through all of them?
Oh, I thought. You were reading that one. I thought you were reading this question. Well then, maybe to just address.
I think it's the same.
Okay.
So Violet is joining. Great work. Love SPN. Thank you so much. Super cool.
Oh, when are we planning to get audited?
That's a good question as well.
We have been audited.
Yes.
In the past, but audits are also fairly expensive. If you know somebody who's like interested into getting us an audit where we don't pay them just and this is not like very controversial, but if we pay I'm skeptical. No, I'm skeptical about people who are paying for their own audits, because then of course I'm the customer, like this audit better be very good,
But at the same time, like audit companies, they also have a reputation,
absolutely,
which they want to maintain and not lose by just like being bought out.
Yeah.
So
our cryptography has been audited by Cure 53. It has been a while back.
That's kind of the core module which SPN uses to encrypt the routes through the internet. So the cryptography was audited, and the report is online.
Yeah, which of course also on their side, which of course is very important, because what we're saying is we don't offer privacy by policy, which basically VPNs do, and so they need to be audited and regularly, because like people are like, well, maybe you started tracking or like collecting data now,
Yeah.
But with us having privacy by design, what we're like all about is and this is what got audited, our cryptography is done in a way that we can ensure like that privacy is kept through how we are doing it in the first place, which of course VPNs can't, because they're not built for privacy, but we are. Sorry, just to get that out there. But Violet, maybe do you have an idea? Who would you want to audit us, Violet?
Yes, great question, and thanks for supporting.
Yeah, also that's true. Yeah, but who would you want to see an audit from? I think this is also, you don't have to answer now. You can answer in the comments later on as well. But love to get it.
We are super open to audits.
Yeah.
I mean,
as I said, like
it also is like a budgetary thing where
absolutely,
depending on the scope of the audit, like the dream scenario would be to have like the whole tech stack audited, but of course that is the most expensive option. So
it is, but I think this can be marketing as well. Many, I think, VPN companies use audits as marketing, and there are people retweeting those audits and stuff like that. So
it's also like good practice, I feel, in general.
Absolutely. Not saying no. I'm just saying, not sure if this is the direction the money should flow. Just saying.
At the moment.
At the moment, yeah. For audit, well, it's assured. Yeah, maybe we'll have a look. Thanks, SNG.
Well, I would let
Okay.
someone else pick that.
Yeah, well done,
SMG
SMG.
just did.
Assured. We'll have a look.
Mullvad, of course, is a like good name in the privacy space, so they will also pick like
Someone reputable.
reputable
I think so as
sources.
well. Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're happy to check them out.
Yeah, sure. Have a look where they're based. Yeah, maybe they come and visit. Cure 53 in the past has not visited us. It was a code audit, and
Located in Berlin, I think, right?
yeah, but the
they're
guy,
German.
I don't know. I
The
think so as
auditor
well.
themselves,
French.
Yeah.
Was French back in the day. Well then,
Yeah,
has been lovely. Has been lovely as always.
good experience. Can recommend.
Yeah.
And it was fun being on the show as well. Being
Yeah.
good vibes, having good chats. Thanks for all
Absolutely.
your questions as well.
Yeah.
And for all your support, and as mentioned as well, like even people watching later and just finding out about Saving in Portmaster, like super cool.
Absolutely. Leave comments below if you have any questions you want us to answer in 2 weeks. As always, we will be here in 2 weeks, so it will be March, early March. But I feel like the schedule is okay. Like for us, this is doable. An hour every 2 weeks. It's always been lovely, like having all of you around. I'm sorry that I don't post the links earlier. It's just like, yeah, getting ready, and during the process of getting everything ready, I'm like, oh, the links. Oh, well,
the stacks of work usually are pretty high, so it's like, oh, this I have to do and that, and it's it usually doesn't get boring.
No, so does not. That's true. So please, as I said, write in the comments your thoughts about stuff we talked about. We read the YouTube comments. You can also sort of like, I will put in the description the link to the Discord, like the general Discord link is already there. I will close the thread though, so I will answer the couple of things which are still open. So everything will be there contained, but then it's also closed. But sure, like come back in 2 weeks. It will probably be me and maybe you again, or Daniel. We will see. We will figure out.
Yep.
Maybe it's David and Daniel. Who knows? I've been doing this for months now, but I love it. It's great, and it's great the interaction with you all.
Yeah.
And
thanks for your questions. Thanks for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.